it's not really a simple yes or no question because it's different types and you got to understand the different types to know what you're getting yourself into. What is going on YouTube? We are currently in the streets of Vietnam, okay? And I figured what better time to have this conversation than right now. So, do Asian women like black men? That is the topic of discussion today. Now, this question isn't as simple as it may sound, okay? It's not just a simple yes or no. And I'm going to explain why. So, as many of you may know, but a lot of you probably don't, I am a black American from Atlanta, Georgia. I moved to Southeast Asia the beginning of April. And right now it's like August 3rd, maybe August 4th. So I've been here for a few months now. I spent time in Malaysia. I spent time in Japan. I spent time in Indonesia. And now, like I said, we are in Vietnam, okay? So before moving to Asia, I never really had issues dealing with women. I've had a few girlfriends. I've dated, you know, plenty of women, and whatever the case may be. But I have definitely seen online that there are plenty of men who have trouble getting women, dating women, dealing with women, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and some of these guys, they will leave the United States and relocate to places like South America and Southeast Asia in hopes of finding love. And whether they have trouble dating in America because of their looks, or maybe their hobbies, or maybe it's how they carry themselves, whatever the case may be, I am not one of those guys, okay? And no shade or no knock to those guys, because I do believe you should go where you are appreciated and not just tolerated. And I also believe most guys, the average guy, struggles with women, okay? It is what it is. And that's why it's called the oldest profession in the world. And it wouldn't be called that if men wasn't struggling with women, all right? So it is what it is. That's just how the world works. And so once again, I get it, okay? I understand why a lot of men do that, and I understand the struggle that a lot of men go through, but that's just not my reality, okay? So my experience might be different from the next man. My dealing with Asian women might be different from the next black man, okay? The way they approach me, the way they talk to me, the way they treat me could be a little bit different from the way they talk to you and treat you, okay? And it could be better, it could be worse, like who knows? But I'm just saying, this is my unique experience, so just keep that in mind as I go through this video. Also, I'm a black man from America, like I said, but not just anywhere in America. I'm from Atlanta. And being that I'm from Atlanta, that simple fact alone causes people to treat me different and talk to me different, you know what I'm saying? And not just women, but men too, but definitely women. You know, when they find out I'm from Atlanta, the first thing they think of is like Lil Baby, 21 Savage, Gunna, you know, all of their favorite rappers. When they hear Atlanta or think about Atlanta, they think of all of the cool things that they know about America and black American culture. And whether that be fashion, whether that be music, whether that be art, just by me simply saying where I'm from, I'm automatically associated with all of that stuff, and I'm looked at as cool before they even like really get to know me. And I say all of that once again to say that my experience will be unique from yours, okay? I'm a black American from Atlanta, so if you are from Africa, or if you are from Europe, or even if you're from Idaho, your situation, your experience could be completely different from mine. It could be better, it could be worse, but it might not be just like mine, okay? I have something going for myself that I can use to my advantage that you might not have, and vice versa. So now that we got all of that taken care of, let's answer the question, okay? Do Asian women like black men? So from my experience, there are 3 different types of Asian women that stand out to me, okay? So number 1, we have the Asian women that I would say are into their culture, okay? They're super into their culture. And so for example, right now I'm in Vietnam. If I was to walk down any of these streets, I would see several gorgeous, beautiful women, okay? But a lot of them are super into their culture. So what does that even mean? So wherever you are, wherever you're watching this video from, you probably know those people that don't think outside of their hometown. They don't really travel. They're content with where they are. They're content with their family and friends that they already know. It's the same way here. There are plenty of women who are just simply not interested in knowing or learning anything outside of their culture. Their life is their hometown, their country. They might only speak Vietnamese, for example, or they might only speak Japanese, for example, and they might not even be interested in learning English. They aren't necessarily interested in learning about America or anything just outside of their country, all right? They're focused on where they're from, and this is all they know. We know those people like that in our hometown, and it's the same way here, I promise. And so, with that being said, as you can imagine, they're definitely not interested in dating black men, all right? It just is what it is. And it might not even be black men in particular, but like, they might also not want to date a Japanese guy. They might also not want to date, whatever the case is, wherever they from, that's what they want. And that's all they know, you know what I mean? That's nothing wrong with that. Some people are simply just comfortable with their surroundings, their life, and a black guy would be the opposite of what they're comfortable with, okay? And that's all it is to it. And so yeah, they might be nice to you, they might be friendly and treat you like a human being, but it's not about to go like further than that, okay? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. And then the second type of women are the ones who are actually interested in black culture. They might like black music, black fashion, black trends, whatever the case may be, but they still lean towards the side of staying within their culture. As much as they admire us, admire what we create, and all of that stuff, they are comfortable and perfectly fine with enjoying it and admiring it from the outside looking in, okay? And you know, they might come up and they might talk to you, but it's not because they are romantically interested in you, it's because they've seen what looks like you on TV, on social media, on the internet, you know what I'm saying? And so they might not see a black guy all the time, so when they do, the first thing they think of is what they've seen on TV, and they're interested and they're excited and they want to talk to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. But after it's all said and done, they're gonna go back to what they know, okay? And like I said, that's cool. And so these women, from what I've seen, also don't really care to date black men. Now, the third type, okay? This is the type that definitely likes black men. And this is why I said it's not really a simple yes or no question, because it's different types and you gotta understand the different type to know what you're getting yourself into. So the third type, they come in a few different forms. Sometimes they look and behave exactly like the second type of woman that I described, but the difference is they're actually interested in you. They actually want to get to know you, and it's not just like admiring from the outside. They definitely would love and want to get to know you on a romantic level. You know, they like black culture, black music, whether that be hip hop, whether that be R&B, whatever. They also might be into black fashion, and they'll wear certain clothes, certain trends, and you could tell like, okay, they definitely like the black culture. But sometimes they also might look like the first girl I described, all right? It might be a regular Vietnamese girl or a regular Japanese girl that just works at the local market, and she might not be overly interested in black culture, but she is open-minded, and just because you black, that's not a deal breaker, okay? She's still down to get to know you, but she might look like the regular ones that, like I said, that stick to their culture. She might just be the one that's down to be more open and see what's out there. And then there's one more type, okay? The foreigner. Now, this is the type of woman that might be Asian and American, or she might be Asian and European, or she even might be Asian and Hispanic, whatever the case may be. Or this could be somebody that's like fully Asian, but their parents moved out of Asia a while ago, so they grew up outside of Asia and then they migrated back. From the outside looking in, if I was trying to make sense of this situation, my best explanation would be that growing up, let's say it's a young lady and her dad is Asian, but her mom is Hispanic. She was already raised in an environment where it's normal to date outside of their race, okay? Their parents are two completely different races, and so she grew up understanding that that's okay and that's normal. And being that the parents are two different races, how could you expect a child to not be open to dating other races? Or how could you expect a child to only date Asian people or only date Hispanic people when they're half and half already? So it shouldn't be like a shocker that this type of woman also dates black men. And let's take another girl, for example. Let's say she's not necessarily mixed, but she grew up in Europe or she grew up in America. If that's the case, it's a good chance that wherever she grew up at, she was a minority, okay? So she probably already connected with other minorities, which happens to be black people a lot of the time, depending on where the location is. Or even where I'm from, where I went to high school at, literally 90% black. And it was Asian women there too, of course, but how could you expect them not to date black men? Of course they are. That's 90% of their peers are black. So if they was to grow up where I'm from and then move back to Asia, they're going to keep that preference because that's all they really know. And a common thing that I've noticed from the women that I've dealt with since I've been in Asia is they all speak English. And it makes sense because if you like black men, then you probably are going to learn the language or know how to speak English to communicate with them. But in the same breath, I don't think me as a man can fully say whether a woman is truly uninterested in me if there's a language barrier. So maybe I'm just full of myself, but I genuinely believe if I could fluently speak Vietnamese or I could fluently speak Japanese, those women that seem uninterested would quickly become interested. But maybe I'm just full of myself, I don't know. And as I mentioned earlier, some of them seem uninterested because they're just content with their culture. And a lot of times they don't even speak English, but my thought process is maybe if I was to tap into their language, maybe they would be open to getting to know me. But maybe I could be completely wrong, and the little Japanese I learned or little Vietnamese I learned doesn't mean anything, okay? I could just be completely wrong. But outside of the language barrier, I could see fear of being judged being another reason why some Asian women stay away from black men. I would imagine that the normal Asian girl that grew up in Vietnam or Japan her whole life, never left, doesn't have any intentions to leave, I would imagine that she values the opinion of her community more than a girl that grew up in America and then came back to Vietnam, or a girl that's like half Vietnamese and half European and grew up somewhere else and came back here, you know what I mean? But these are just my personal experiences and my personal opinions. I'm not saying it's true or false, but this is just what I've seen with my own two eyes. And in the near future, I will actually make a video talking about the dating scene here, because I do have some experience with that, and you guys might be interested in that as well. So I'll make a video talking about that. But in the meantime, I'm curious to hear you guys' experiences, if you have any at all, or I'm also just curious to hear you guys' opinions on the things that I said in this video. Let me know if you agree, disagree, whatever the case may be. I want to hear it. So thanks for watching as always, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with y'all later, okay?